Every year I make a video talking about E3 and how excited or unexcited I am for upcoming titles. I've never spoken about F3 and to be honest I feel kinda bad about that considering how important fan games are to me and a lot of the people who watch me. If you've never heard of F3, this is a showcase hosted by Kaze/Kazooie/the John Wick of Mario 64 hacks every year since 2018. Now I love fan games, and from what I can tell, a lot of you feel the same way, so I figured we should take a look at the stuff that was shown off there. I love the work that these guys do, and it's gonna be a convenient place to look when I do the next marathon. Because this is far more compact than E3, I decided that I'm just gonna go through everything because I can. I may have more to say about some things than others, mostly because I'm more familiar with some things than others, but I think they all deserve attention. So let's-a go! To start with a bang, Paper Mario 64 has been successfully decompiled, which, if you don't know what that means, in the most simple terms effectively means the code is now far more readable, so modding the game is therefore way more straightforward than it ever was before. This is a dramatic step forward for that game's particular ROM hacking scene, so the games shown off here are just the beginning. I've been dying to see more Paper Mario mods, so this is really exciting for me specifically. Paper Mario 64 meets TTYD. I've never heard such an incredible combination of words. This looks like Paper Mario 64, but with all the items and moves and enemies and badges from Thousand Year Door, because if there was one thing that was missing from the original game, it was the insanely broken badge builds. They also added a bunch of new areas and levels as well. This was the first game that was shown, so this show was pretty much designed to get my attention as quickly as possible. There was also the Paper Parable / the Mario Parable, which is another Paper Mario hack taking inspiration from the Stanley Parable. My only exposure to that game was when Donkey played it and he went, "The donkey walked to the spaghetti factory and got the spaghetti and meatballs," or something. That wasn't one of his better videos in my book, but the game looked pretty funny, so I'm super excited to play this. Ocarina of Time also had a decomp finished, resulting in some dramatic ROM hacking advancements, allowing games like Majora's Mask Light Arrow is Missing, which appears to be a very peculiar and cryptic game where you have to hunt down the light arrow by following these strange and obtuse clues. Just by looking at it, I can already tell this is gonna drive me insane and make me want to eat plastic, so I'm really excited for that. The most exciting thing about this presentation is that a lot of the stuff they showed off is available right now, and this is one of those things. Can't wait to play it. There's also Ocarina of Time Chaos Edition. I've gotten a number of requests over the years to talk about randomizer mods and such, and I've held off on it because I'm mostly driven by new content, but this one has the Majora's Moon in it, so I guess I just ran out of excuses. ARMS Remix. This one looks pretty funky. Even though I'm not really familiar with ARMS, it's cool to see such a recent game get an active modding community. Something I'm even less familiar with is Asterix and Obelix. I'm so unfamiliar with it that not only did I probably pronounce that very wrong, but I didn't even know it existed previously. This is apparently a really old comic book series that got adapted into all kinds of other stuff, including as many as 40 video games. God damn. Based on my cursory research, many of these titles were not brought to North America, which is probably why I've never heard of it. Looking at the trailer though, it looks goofy, it looks fun, it looks like stupid fun, and that's the best kind of fun. And because of its relative obscurity, I think it speaks to the presentation's dedication to variety. Crash Bandicoot Back in Time comes with all new levels, including Sen's Fortress from Dark Souls. It's got a level creator too, which is pretty bonkers. I've started to notice I've used the word bonkers a lot. I should probably find a new word. Crash is one of those games that I never really got the hang of, but one of these days I'll figure it out. Pikmin 2 16, now we're talking. I love Pikmin 2, so naturally Pikmin 2 ROM hacks are an insta-play for me. There are all kinds of new enemies and treasures to get, and I cannot wait to get murdered by Pikmin 2's Devil RNG again. This is already a big year for Pikmin. We got Pikmin 4 that just came out, and Pikmin 2 69 earlier this year, which was as fun as it was stupid. I don't see Mr. Krabs in this new one, so that may be a little disappointing for some, but I think we'll manage. A new demo for Super Mario Eclipse was shown off as well. I actually played the first demo during the summer marathon in June. If you didn't see that video, all you gotta know is that I enjoyed this ROM hack a lot. Now I love Mario Sunshine hacks. Mario is so snappy and versatile in that game that he's begging for more spaces to run around in, so whenever I see Sunshine mods, they instantly make it on the shortlist. Shining Stars Repainted 2 / Shining Stars 2 Repainted / Shining Stars Another Dimensional Incident is the final major Mario 64 hack by SM64Pi, who's been in the game for a while and is one of the few Twitter users that doesn't make me want to blow my head off. It's sad to know that this is the last major hack from him, but at least we're ending on a high note. This hack includes remade levels from the previous Shining Stars titles as well as a bunch of new ones. I'm so excited to actually play this one. He also teased an update for Flower Ride 64, so that's pretty exciting. Mario 64 ROM hacks are half the reason I started making videos, so if it weren't for these games, I may never have made some of my best videos like Is Bloodborne the greatest game ever made? It's not, by the way, but it's pretty good. So it's cool to see them still getting the respect and attention they deserve. Mario 64 San Andreas. Now this looks goofy. If this was just a model swap, I wouldn't care that much, but Mario actually appears to move and act like Mario instead of CJ wearing a Mario bodysuit. It'd be really funny to BLJ between Los Santos and Las Venturas. We all know Rockstar would never let you do that because they're a bunch of bitches. Level Share Square. If I understand correctly, this is a custom Mario level creator that lets you share levels publicly online, which seems pretty interesting. You got some Yoshi's Island going on, Mario 63, you can write mean comments, and you can load up and play any of them super quickly. Basically, it seems like a cracked out version of Mario Maker. Speaking of Mario Maker, we got Mario Maker on a calculator. What the hell is this now? I don't get how this exists, but I'm glad that it does. Rhythm Heaven Mega Mix is another mod of a game that I'm not familiar with in the slightest, but it looks really fun. Rhythm games always trip me up because depending on your display setup, the difference in latency can completely screw you over. Did I ever tell you guys about the first time I played Thousand Year Door on my new HD display 10 years ago? When I was playing on the CRT, I was amazing, but the difference in input delay of just a couple of milliseconds completely broke me. It took me an entire weekend to readjust. Pokemon Cross Stadium looks like a better version of Pokemon Stadium, which is a game that I played 300 years ago. You got all kinds of new moves and categories and stuff. I've never been a Pokemon expert, but if you're a fan of Pokemon Stadium, this is probably big news for you. It looks a lot more advanced than I remember. We got a mod for A Hat in Time, which turns it into a 3D Devil May Cry inspired beat 'em up. I don't know how they come up with this bullshit, but somehow it looks like it really works. I love A Hat in Time, and I never got tired of bitch smacking an enemy in the face with my umbrella, so from that perspective, it makes sense that they'd want to really ham up that part of the game. Sonic in the Moon Facility. This looks berserk. I can already see myself getting unbelievably angry at this game, but at least it looks really fun. I'm very impressed by the environments and the sprite work, and the art direction as a whole is familiar to the existing titles, but with a decidedly lunar tint to it that makes it feel like a whole new world. A lot of people like making fun of Sonic fans, but you cannot deny, they got passion. Mario Kart Double Dash Extended looks like a lot of fun. Double Dash may well be my favorite game in the series, and seeing all these new courses and cars in a 200cc mode get added to the game is very exciting. There's also Mario Kart Midnight, which adds a bunch of new stuff to Mario Kart Wii. I can already see myself playing it with Admiral right now.
I thought that was Road. The batteries! They're running out. Oh, shit.
Hey, let me ask you a question. You know what they call a Mario Quarter Pounder Deluxe in France? Mario Royale Deluxe, where you create your own levels and play as Kirby. Well, this looks pretty funny. Super Mario Bros. Ultra Deluxe. This looks like the original Super Mario Bros. Except there's Yoshi eggs and star coins and a map screen and the Toad houses from the third game. There's even a simultaneous 2-player feature, which is something that I've always wanted in this game. If there was DLC back in the NES days, this is what it would look like. Donald Duck Goin' Quackers Music Repair Patch. Now this is a weird one. The story behind this game is that basically the N64 version of Goin' Quackers was ported very poorly from the PC version, such that it actually broke the music, so some ROM hackers finally decided that they'd had enough and made a ROM hack that fixed it. I've never played this game, but it was made by Ubisoft, and a lot of the music and sound effects and even the graphics remind me of Rayman 2, so I may have been sleeping on it. There's also an HD texture pack for the PC version, so if you're wanting the definitive edition of Donald Duck game, this is for you. Kirko Mods, oh, I know this guy. Many of the levels of Kirkoin Quest were shown off here, some of them new and others that are available right now. I've actually made videos on a lot of these previously. If you haven't seen those videos, the too long didn't watch version is basically that they're all pretty good. But what I haven't seen yet is BanjoKazooie The Corrupted Jiggies by Not Kirko Mods. This game looks funky. Dampé makes an appearance, Piranha Plant shows up, Banjo turns into a horrifying ghosty goo, Moneybags from Spyro is in it. I'm super excited to play this one. I love BanjoKazooie, so if you make a BanjoKazooie mod, I will almost definitely be playing it. Mushrooms vs. Goombas. This is Plants vs. Zombies, but with Marios, which to me, I like that. I really liked Plants vs. Zombies before it was bought by EA. Beyond the strategic element of the game, it's just fun to watch. I will never get tired of watching an army of zombies dropping off like flies because of my army of bitchy little pea shooters. Then there's a fighting game where you play as characters from Super Mario Bros. Z, which is one of the last things I was expecting. This series is old as hell. This is like the golden era of Newgrounds. I remember my friends showing me this when I was 10. That's how old this is. It's almost as old as I am. Project Reality is a Luigis Mansion mod, and for that alone, I already want to play it. This follows Luigi on his own quest in Big Boo's haunt from Mario 64. As usual, he ends up in over his head and has to fight his way out with a vacuum cleaner. This guy can't catch a break, can he? I love Luigi's Mansion ROM hacks, and it's very nice to see that there is still enough interest in them to continue making them. The scene is still in its awkward puberty phase though. I imagine the modding tools are not quite as evolved as some other titles, and the hacking scene is not as ubiquitous as I'd like as a result, but we're getting there. There's a new version of Kaizo Mario Galaxy. I have a lot of respect for people who make Kaizo hacks because they do so knowing full well that people will be hoping and praying for absolutely terrible things to happen to them. To be completely honest with you, I don't know if I'll be playing this one because games like this make me break stuff, and my financial advisor has told me that breaking stuff is probably not a good thing to do. There is, however, Neo Mario Galaxy, which looks like a brand new game in a whole new world full of cake and ice cream. It looks like a lot of fun. It's even got one of the secret levels from Mario Sunshine. Comes out this Friday, so that's pretty exciting.
This was it for this year's F3.
Metal Gear? Oh shit! Oh, never mind. K's faked me out at the end with this Metal Gear codec noise, making me think there was gonna be a Metal Gear mod, and I am convinced he did that specifically to torment me. The actual final game is Zelda 64, which is honestly even more exciting. From what I gather, this was made by the same team as the amazing Earthbound 64 recreation project and looks very extensive, reconstructing parts that haven't really been reconstructed before. In case you missed the news, a ton of pre-release Ocarina of Time content was discovered a couple of years back, unlocking a goldmine of potential for beta recreations. We had the Space World demo recreation, of course, and this looks like a recreation of the beta archive footage from early development. I recognized it immediately because I find that stuff super interesting. In spite of the Metal Gear fake out, this was a very good game to end on, and one that I'm gonna play the ever-loving shit out of. Overall, this was a pretty great F3, and it was definitely more exciting than E3 turned out to be, all things considered. I'm super hyped for these titles, and I cannot wait to play them when the time is right. You know, this would normally be where I end things, but I have a confession to make. You see, I've been slowly formulating a pet project behind the scenes that I've never spoken of before. It's a fan game of sorts that I considered submitting to F3, even going as far as to making a trailer for it. Unfortunately, it is in the very, very early stages of planning and conception, and considering what I have going on, I have no idea when I will be able to show it off in any substantial capacity. And since the rules for submissions said basically that the game had to come out within a year of the event, I decided against submitting the trailer because it is not currently in a state where I can confidently give an estimated release date or make any promises whatsoever. So this entire video that you just watched was actually an excuse for me to show off the trailer.